Eastsiders and all you scandal-loving listeners out there. You just tuned into the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, where the coffee is strong, the waffles are fresh, and the gossip is hotter than ever. My name is Leif, and I'm your seasoned Gossip Girl veteran.
And I'm Steve, your newbie, the greenhorn. I don't know, Leif, what do you call the new kid on the block in Gossip Girl terms?
Well, haven't you heard? I'm the crazy bitch around here. So for now, you're just a project. You know, the type of girl has a potential to be a Blairite.
Go ahead and dress me up in that Eleanor Waldorf original and let's get started.
Sounds good.
So here's the deal, folks. Leif has been a fan of Gossip Girl since it first came out, and I'm watching for the first time. And together, we're your dynamic duo, dissecting all the drama, romance, and sometimes questionable fashion choices of this iconic 2007 series.
That's right. Each week, we're going to be taking a deep dive, one episode at a time. We'll analyze all the parallels, obscure references, and of course, couture catastrophes. We're also going to take a look at the behind-the-scenes gossip and some of the stories from fandom.
And since we're all about inclusivity here at the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod, there's always a seat for you at the non-judging breakfast table. So go ahead and grab your mimosa or your cup of coffee or some of Nate and Chuck's special medicine, and let's go ahead and get right into this episode.
Okay, we're going to start it off. Today we are going to talk about Season 1, Episode 18, Much I Do About Nothing.
Much I Do About Nothing. I very much recognize the title. It's actually a show that I've seen several times, and I actually think I told you I often confuse Much Ado About Nothing and As You Like It.
Yeah.
But I also feel like Shakespeare comedies, he kind of found a rhythm and went with it a lot of the time.
But it does kind of fit because a lot of his comedies have and tragedies have gossip involved in the plotline.
Mm-hmm.
And especially this one, Much Ado About Nothing.
Yeah, exactly, very much.
That's like the central theme.
It really.
But also Othello, gossip is a very big part of that.
Yeah.
It's a lot to more tragic results.
Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
Also ends in tragedy from gossip. Yeah.
So the original air date was May 19th in 2008. The Television Without Pity recap reads, Finale. Queen Beef deals with the bitch. Lily shame walks from Rufus's futon to her wedding day. S finally pulls it the fuck together. Speculation / recapper hopes. V continues to be really cool. Lonely Boy continues to be completely correct sweetheart. Rufus continues to cry and continues to be perfectly awesome. Little J and Eric totally rock out / show up, but just barely. C and B make out already. So all that is right with the world because we are tired of waiting, and G gets some kind of effing peace she deserves most of all.
Yeah, sums it up,
yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm. So we had back from writing this episode, Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage, of course, the showrunners, and they wrote the pilot. You gave that one a B, I gave it an A.
I will get into this more in our recap, but like looking back, I think that I should have given more credit to the pilot than I did in a lot of respects. Like in hindsight, there was so much more that took place in that episode than I realized.
They definitely set a lot of stuff up, and there's a lot of parallels between that episode and this episode.
Yeah.
So they definitely they always have an end point and a beginning and an end point planned out in the show.
Mm-hmm.
They go on a lot of crazy turns and twists along the way, but they got a beginning and end plotted out at least.
Yeah, and like I said to you before, I felt like this episode did tie up the season nicely.
Yes, mm-hmm.
You know, it almost, I felt like it could have been a one season miniseries, and still have been like, and I would have been satisfied watching that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The episode was directed by Norman Buckley. He's back for his third episode this season. He previously did The Handmaid's Tale, which you gave a B-, I gave a B. Thin Line Between Chuck and Nate, which episode 13 did both A- on that one.
Yeah, that was the one where everything that the kids did was gold.
Yeah, it was the last episode before the strike.
Yeah, and everything with Rufus was absolute garbage.
Oh my God, yeah.
that was
because the writers weren't on set.
Yeah, there were no writers on set to be like, do we need to name them Becca and Bricks or Becca and Bex?
Breakfast. That's another sexual position, folks. Breakfast. We'll tell you about that on the Patreon feed. Anyways, Act 1 begins with no Gossip Girl monologue. The first voice we hear is Serena's. Could the It Girl be Gossip Girl? Serena is leaving a message for Dan, trying to find him in the morning. After we ended last episode, she finally decides to just go to Brooklyn.
So the first thing with this is that it was really jarring to have Gossip Girl absent, to have no Gossip Girl monologue to kick off the show. Then
when she came in the middle of the episode, it's like, whoa, there
you are. Yeah, what have you been doing? But also, like, Serena, you're just thinking of this now, like you've been trying to find
walking
him
around Manhattan all night
for like 12 hours. For 8 to 12 hours, you're walking around Manhattan looking for Dan, and you don't think to go to the place where he wants to be 90% of the time.
Like
his law.
It's impolite to show up unannounced in the middle of the night.
You're right. You're right. What was I thinking?
So Rufus and Lily wake up in bed together. Rufus gets the call to go on tour, and Lily gets a call to go meet Bart. Are Rufus and Lily not together? Or are they together? What's going on here? I'm not sure.
First of all, he's opening for the Breeders.
Yes, because the Luscious Jackson reunion fell through.
Yeah. Yes.
More name drops.
Yeah. But I did love the Breeders name drop. I mean, that song is such an iconic 90s song. And I'd recently listened to that album. It's a really good album too.
Yeah. And I get, Rufus just likes playing with the ladies.
Yeah. He had Lisa Loeb opening for him. And now he's going on tour with the Breeders. I had that thought too.
Chuck and Blair also wake up together. They claim it was an accident. They trade quips before Chuck leaves to get ready for the wedding.
Do you think these women bands are like, who's someone that's really dreamy that won't upstage me?
Yeah. I don't know, though. He's got that one song.
Yeah, he's got that one song. Someone who's not really, people can tap their feet and sing along and they'll be happy to see them, but no one's really there to see them. But like, they look good and they can play 20 minutes.
So yeah, what do we think of the Chuck and Blair waking up together?
The slap is so good. When Blair just wakes up, looks at Chuck, and slaps him in the face. I loved it.
And we find out Chuck keeps his scarf on during sex.
Yeah, yeah, if it's cold.
It was just that one time.
Something you
don't
have to remove your scarf for.
Howie is out of rehab. He and Nate are once again jogging in the park. We get an extremely dated reference to former flash in the pan Yankees pitcher Justin Jabba Chamberlain. All seems good with the captain until he's once again seen making a shady phone call while Nate is distracted by a floating plastic bag.
Yeah. Yep. He's gonna, American Beautied. He got American Beautied right there.
Yes. But did you catch the Jabba? Do you remember Jabba? For one season.
Yeah,
He's good.
and he was supposed to be like the it pitcher,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was first round draft pick.
Yeah. I also, when the captain's making excuses for Anne, it's like, well, the bushes look like bears, and the basement's flooded.
She's washing her hair.
Yeah. And she's definitely not planning some shady shit. Again, here's Howard unable to fuck up properly.
Well, no, at this point, I didn't think she was playing shady shit. I thought she was basically just dumping him.
Yeah, I did too, actually. Well, and I mean, I'm just always suspicious of him.
Yeah.
And that was exactly what I thought too, is at that point watching it is.
Yeah, that was like the old I'm watching my hair excuse.
Yeah, yeah.
But apparently she was in on it all along.
But again, just like the hindsight is, here we again have the captain who can't even fuck up properly.
Captain. Serena arrives at the loft, momentarily relieved to find Dan slept at home until she sees Georgina coming out of Dan's room. Georgina plays dumb and makes an exit as Serena freaks out.
The eye acting. The Michelle Trachtenberg eye acting. And just wide-eyed. Oh, Serena, you're here. I didn't mean for this to happen. Oh, my God. It's
so bad. So bad.
It is painful. Like, it is hard to watch the acting. Like, man.
Yeah. I mean, Georgina is such a fun character, but it's a shame.
Yeah.
We do a quick scene cut and then it skips to to skip the exposition of Serena explaining the whole Georgina and Pete Fairman situation. And Serena wants to stay together, but Dan is about to tell Serena something happened with Georgina last night, but Serena cuts him off and goes into full denial mode that would make Blair proud.
Yeah, it really would. And there was a part of me that wondered if it was more Serena not wanting Dan to say what happened for Dan's sake, that Dan would be the one that felt like he was cheating. And I feel like it wouldn't bother Serena as much if she knew.
I did not get that at all, but I mean, it's possible.
Yeah, I just kind of felt like that she was that yes, she went into that denial mode and recognized, yes, something happened and I don't want to hear it, but I also felt like it was I don't want you to have to say it. I felt like that was in there too.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just more backed up with the denial because the way she was just avoiding the conversation the whole episode.
That is true. Like the later scenes back that up too.
Yeah.
But it's also like, Serena, if you would have just sat and fucking talked about it here.
Yeah, it wouldn't have those awkward moments at the wedding.
Mm-hmm.
But that would be less drama.
Yeah.
As Serena leaves, she tells Dan that she is the one who stopped Lily from going away with Rufus in order to protect her relationship with Dan. We end the scene with Dan calling Blair.
Yeah.
What?
What?
So yeah, we'll come back to that later. Apparently.
Yeah.
Next, we quickly shift to Lily meeting with Bart in an empty apartment. Bart keeps this huge empty apartment in the most expensive city in the country, empty with utilities, just so he can stay grounded, quote unquote.
I actually loved this scene though.
It was a good scene, but it just I just had to mock Bart for that.
Yeah, I mean,
the whole concept of it.
Well, yeah, but like that is also just like one of those things that sounds like rich people do. You know.
But so he does. So the purpose of this meeting is Bart's using the apartment as an analogy to Lily's relationship with Rufus and letting the past go. And this is the first time we're really seeing a different side of Bart.
Yeah.
He went dark fast there.
Yeah.
That's very manipulative, which he hasn't really been so far.
Well, honestly, I didn't really see that as manipulative. I saw it as like, you need to let this guy go. Like, you're running around with this guy, and like, so what do you think? And it's like, here's this apartment.
How does he know
About Rufus?
Yeah.
I mean, she's not subtle. Like, she ran off to see his band the night before.
She went to take Serena to see Pete Fairman, and then she dropped him off at the concert.
Yeah.
And then she didn't come home because she didn't want to see him the day of the wedding, which totally makes sense.
Yeah, but honestly, I felt like Bart, because Bart, first of all, Bart saw them kiss. Bart knows that he's in a love triangle because he's known since Eleanor's party back in episode 6 when they kissed then. So Bart knows that Rufus is there. Bart knows that he's in a love triangle, right? So like,
because the last time he saw Rufus was with Allison, wasn't it? In episode.
It may have been, but this isn't the first time that Lily has run off and then to find Dan, to find Rufus. You know, I don't think that she was taking Serena somewhere when he last saw her.
Yeah, he's with Serena. She was with Serena.
I just felt like that whole thing was him knowing about Rufus. I got that feeling that Bart was just like, look, I'm letting go of my past. I need you to let go of that past.
Yes, that's absolutely what he was doing, but I just don't, how did he know?
I just figure that he's Bart Bass. He's Chuck Bass's dad, right?
But he seemed like a good guy so far.
Yeah, but he probably also has people watching her. Okay. So that's not good.
So you agree he's manipulating her?
Yeah, he is. No, I said from the start, yes, it's manipulative.
Okay. That's my whole point.
Yeah.
Yes. He definitely took a dark turn in this episode, I think.
Yeah, I didn't really
up to this point, he was fairly a decent guy. He was kind of a cold dad to Chuck, but Chuck's a fucking asshole, so who cares?
Well, I've always gotten sort of a Batman or a Superman villain vibe from him.
I mean, he's definitely like a businessman.
Yeah, I've always gotten that kind of shrewd, powerful, and so...
But he's never really done anything that we've seen on screen.
No. And even here, we just know that he knows.
Yeah.
Or we just know that he has a feeling. You know, there is that side of it that like he doesn't know, but
I just felt like the whole conversation was just like super shady. Like, just say it out. Just get it out in the open and say what you mean.
Yeah. I mean,
the way he did it just seemed super weird and shady.
I do get what you're saying.
That Superman villain vibes, if you will.
It does. I mean, it does. And he always, I felt like that was kind of true to character.
Yeah.
And like Bart Bass does seem like the kind of guy that would keep an apartment empty in the middle of a housing crisis. that seems to be the kind of thing. I kind of feel all rich. I thought all rich people of that magnitude did that.
Yeah. I forgot for the previous scene. I forgot to mention with Dan and Serena. He actually they normally do a good job of hiding the height difference, but when Dan has to get up on his tippy toes to kiss her on the forehead, it's definitely noticeable.
Yeah.
In Blair's room, Dan and Blair are elbow to elbow. Blair coaches Dan through his first scheme, taking his precious flower.
Don't worry, virgin. Also that scene, and I'm hoping we don't have to talk about her for a long time after this episode. But the orgasmic reaction from Michelle Trachtenberg in the back of the car when Dan's like, oh, like, what was that?
I will say that there is consistent writing, and that Georgina always, throughout the 6 seasons, she wants the D from Dan. Yeah.
Man. Just the thought of meeting him in the park and you fucking kidding me.
Yeah, that was the, and then all it took was her parents.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I guess that's the next scene, right?
Yeah. So next scene is Dan meets Georgina in the park, but Blair jumps out and reveals Georgina's parents. It was, of course, all a setup. Georgina is taken down and sent to boot camp before our first act break. Was that a little too easy, or was the combo of Dan and Blair just that good? I believe some, if not all, the misdeeds Blair mentions are things that happen in the books, like selling your show pony for drugs and stuff.
Yeah. That was so on my second watch through, well, because the first watch Leif and I actually watched the episode together for the first time, but my second watch I actually noticed that I didn't catch because I
and then if we got any book readers listening, write in and let us know.
Yeah, let us know about that. Also, I really felt like Josh Schwartz was done with Georgina Sparks and just kind of felt like, oh shit, I can't have her in the middle of this. Like, oh shit, we can't have her involved in this part of the show. We can't have her in this wedding. Like, that's just too much. So we're just going to pull the ripcord on this whole Georgina Sparks
I have
thing.
a feeling it has to do with they got less episodes than they originally thought they were going to have because of the strike.
No, so they had to wrap it up right then and
that's also kind of we got the flash forward as well.
Yeah.
The 1 week forward at the end.
Yeah.
I believe that was they kind of just had to condense like a couple of stories that would maybe have been 3 episodes.
Yeah, but at the same time, that Georgina thing would have, they would have been coming out of the writer's strike knowing that they only have. I would think they would have known by then that they only
probably,
have.
But yeah, maybe. I mean,
I felt like they just kind of
Josh Schwartz wasn't there at the beginning, right when they came out of it, and he showed up and he's like, "This character,
oh shit, we need
this character's horrible. Get the fuck off my show."
I am not dealing with this. Well, and because the wedding really was such a pivotal thing that was a focal point for several episodes leading up to it, it's like she can't fuck that up.
We move into Act 2. Back in Brooklyn, Rufus and Dan are discussing the upcoming tour. Dan notes that Rufus never came home last night before dropping the bomb about Serena asking Lily to stay away.
Thanks, Dan.
God damn it, Dan.
I don't know what she's talking about, but thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Oh, I love you, kid. I love you so much.
Next, we get Vanessa comes out wearing a Jenny Humphrey original. Jenny, the fashion designer, is back.
And already just ew.
Yeah, ew. It's an ugly dress.
I'm not even talking about the dress. I'm talking about the chemistry between Dan and Vanessa. That you get that glimpse of like, oh, fuck, is this what they're... No. And no.
Time to Pretend from MGMT puts the show in a time capsule as the familiar intro plays as we see a time-lapse photography of the wedding setup. The song continues in the background as Chuck and Blair make some more quips. Sparks are flying. And the directing in this episode is phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And they get just amazing performances out of them.
And the acting, too. Yeah, the acting is great. I didn't mention in that previous scene, Penn and Blake were really good in their scene.
Yeah.
The scene after the exposition that we skip.
Right. Yeah, the one. Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
And Penn's acting is really good this whole episode, actually.
Yeah. Well, and this scene also, the one that we're on now, that chemistry between Blair and Chuck is just ridiculous. And like Blair, you know Chuck better than anyone. Being violent like that, like you that's flirting with Chuck.
Yeah, he was definitely a little turned on there.
Yeah.
Things are chilly between Chuck and Nate as Chuck greets Nate and his father.
Yeah. Captain. The captain.
She's not worth it. And of course, Chuck lies and says, "Could agree more," and that pisses Nate off more.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're still fighting.
Yeah.
And then we get Blair and Serena have a cute, quiet conversation about their own hypothetical fourth weddings. Then the scene ends a little bit weird, where Blair asks about Dan and Serena's relationship status. Like she's about, like she says, like, what about forgiveness? And Serena's like, I'm working on it. And like she's like, what do you have to work on? I was like, oh yeah, Blair. Serena doesn't have to forgive Dan. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. But then like she turns around, it's like, oh, Dad needs to forgive you. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird scene.
Yeah.
I didn't get exactly what she was going for there.
Yeah. There was definitely one of those scenes.
Like, was she supporting Dan or Serena? I couldn't really tell.
Yeah, well, I felt like it was just.
It seemed like she was siding with Dan.
Yeah, she seemed like she was siding with Dan, and it really ended up feeling.
I wanted her to side with her friend,
right,
against the guy that she supposedly hates.
Yeah. I felt like it was
weird.
I felt like it was one of those times when the writers don't really feel the character, don't really, play to the character.
Again, I think Josh Schwartz like took off for most of the season, and he came back. He's like,
"Oh okay, shit, I've got to wrap. I'm in charge." Up. Yeah. All right, I'm here. I'm gonna wrap things up. Show me what you got. What the fuck is this?
Howie is once again making a shady cash deals out in the open. This time, Chuck spots him and puts a tail on the captain.
The captain, unable to even like you're bad at crime. Captain, you are bad at crime. Stop. Just go to jail already.
Got that white privilege, though.
Yeah, he's playing that card.
I'll be a better father to you in Dominica.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dad.
Yeah.
Lily is sitting alone in her dressing room when Rufus bursts in like the Kool-Aid Man. After a quick commercial break, Rufus and Lily are flirty, and Rufus offers to stop the wedding if Lily wants him to. Lily kind of loves Bart, who is ready to marry her today, but she really loves Rufus, but he just doesn't want to, he just wants to date for a bit, I guess.
What the fuck, Rufus? First of all, what the fuck are you doing there? Like, why? You're just going to show up in her dressing room. I love how she's like, don't I have security? Why, you want them to throw me out? Well, I'd like the option because I'm paying them. Like, why are you bursting into a woman's dressing room at all?
Yeah.
And then, they had that nice flirtiness, and they leave that scene with a will they, won't they sort of vibe still. Like, are they gonna...
It's just... But another like awkward scene.
Yeah,
like,
we were already satisfied with that he's going on tour. Lily's gonna marry Bart. Yeah. Like, I was already good there. I didn't need another.
But again, why is she so obsessed with getting married right now? Like she like he wants to date her, and she wants to be with him, but only if he wants to marry her right away.
Yeah,
it
was all weird.
I don't know. Yeah. Get a quick shot of Bart waiting at the altar with Chuck and Eric. Bart makes a joke to Eric about Lily always being late.
Yeah.
Him and Eric are so goofy. I don't know why that makes me laugh every time.
I actually have a note that I loved seeing Eric and the Basses there. And I do love the relationship that they have. but yeah, you're right. They're goofy. Like,
And, I'm sort of making assumptions here, but I'm going to, my headcanon is that the wedding planner was gay and Eric actually got to talk to another gay person that wasn't calling him a slur.
yeah. To his face or behind his back.
Yes. That'd be nice for Eric.
It would.
Because there was like a shot like of them talking. He was like talking to the wedding planner.
Yeah, I know. Because I had a similar thought of like, oh.
Dan and Vanessa arrive, also late. Dan tells Vanessa that he needs to talk to Serena.
And then
they break, so Serena appears as Vanessa goes to look for Nate, and Serena once again tries to avoid having a conversation, but Dan just blurts out, "I didn't sleep with her." Serena smiles, but
I might
I will have. Serena is whisked off by a wedding planner before she can say anything.
What? Why are you? Why?
Yeah, I mean, Dan should just not have showed up to the wedding.
Yeah. Why would you go to a wedding with?
I mean, I get like they left it at that he was coming, but I mean, if you're just gonna go there to tell her that, I mean,
yeah,
just wait.
Yeah, right before the wedding, you want to be like, oh, by the way, I didn't sleep with your friend, but enough happened that you should be upset about it.
So,
no, go enjoy the wedding.
So, what actually happened? Do you think?
Shannon, last week's guest, said that she suspected that it meant. I think Robin also. I think the both of them said it was a blowjob. My idea. I was the one that was like, I just thought that it was like one of those super emotional, nothing happened, but it might as well happen.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
It was
because like I just don't see Dan as the guy getting a blowjob and just sitting back and getting a blowjob.
Yeah, I just don't see him
that
way.
Yeah.
I see
he would have to return the favor.
Yeah, and would really be he would still be trying to figure it out by the time Serena showed up.
Yeah.
Too.
Analysis paralysis.
Yeah, I really, because I know that I've felt worse in having that type of conversation.
Yeah.
I remember prior to being married to my first wife, I had a friend that the two of us stayed up all night just doing absolutely nothing but talking and really enjoying each other's company to the point that I felt guilty,
That could be more intimate than sex a lot of times.
Yeah. And so really...
Especially for a guy.
Yeah.
From a guy's perspective, that can be more intimate than sex very easily.
And it really was. And that was really where my mind went with Dan, is that like, I didn't cheat by having sex. I cheated by straying from this relationship.
Yes. He emotionally cheated.
Yeah, that was my impression.
Write in and let us know.
Yeah. Yeah, let us know your thoughts. Wonder how that'll go over on TikTok.
Back to Rufus and Lily. Lily is apparently still marrying Bart. So yeah, we get that another quick scene of them. They resolve things off camera. Apparently, that she is going to marry Bart.
I did like the resolution of I love you, Lily. I love you too, Rufus. And then they're done. Like I did. Well, I mean, who knows? But I liked that resolution. I thought that was really cute. Yeah. And I think it really speaks to the fact that we as a human being, you can love more than one person, and you can direct that love to where you want it to be, and Lily was ready to direct it away from Rufus and onto the husband.
Yep. Outside, Blair makes a comment about Lily's tardiness. We see Lonely Boy taking his seat. Serena and the Lily walk down the aisle. Blair makes a snarky comment about Vanessa as well.
Yeah, I thought that the being late was a Vanessa comment.
Yeah.
I thought she made that about Vanessa.
About both of them, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Carolina Liar's Beautiful World plays as Lily and Bart join hands at the altar, and we get our first Gossip Girl monologue. Dan and Serena are both about to cry.
Yeah. Yeah, and like we said earlier, when Gossip Girl chimes in,
it's very jarring.
Like, oh, here you are. Yeah, and really interrupts the scene. And I love that you have this wedding going on, and the monologue itself is, take this man and this woman or whatever, she says the vows as it zooms in on Dan and Serena. I thought that was really clever.
Yeah, they proceed to royally screw themselves.
Yeah.
So that's the end of Act 2. Moving into Act 3, at the reception, Dan tries to get Serena to talk, but she's still in avoidance mode. So yeah, more avoiding by Serena.
Yeah.
Chuck's henchman whispers something to Chuck, who immediately tries to talk to Nate. Chuck tells Nate what he saw earlier. He also apologizes to Nate and admits he loved Blair.
That I love how I love that line where I was in love with Blair and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like this, it's not about this. I loved how he did that.
Because for Nate, a big part was as he, like, Chuck betrayed him just for a random fuck is what he assumed.
Yeah. Well, and it was Chuck Bass being Chuck Bass.
Yeah.
And now here's Chuck, like, being vulnerable to the one person he loves out other than Blair.
Yeah.
And so, because I will always go back to that. There are 3 things that I love: money, the pleasures money brings me, and Nate Archibald.
Yeah.
And I really believe that Chuck has been hurting ever since the breakup.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You've seen it.
Yeah. And so I really loved that apology. Like, I was in love with her. I'm sorry. And I love how Nate really resonated with Nate too.
Now we get Nate. So after the apology, Nate runs out to confront the captain. Howie says he was fleeing the country, not buying drugs. He also admits that he is guilty. He also lets Nate know that Anne was in on it all along. If that wasn't enough, we see Howie is right back to his pilot self, putting all the family pressure on Nate. Nate ends the scene with a punch to Howie's jaw.
I thought the punch was unnecessary, but I think it felt good for the character.
Again, so this is a scene of parallels. You're paralleling the pilot and then the early episodes with, Howie putting the pressure on Nate. All the family pressure is on you.
Yeah,
you're 17, but you got to do everything for us.
Yeah, and
then you get the reverse parallel of the punch out in the, was that 17 camp? No, it's Victor Vitrola.
Yeah,
where Howie punches Nate.
Yeah, and you also have, Nate, this great guy from the worst parents. And like you said, where he's putting this pressure on Nate, like, you're going to have to run the family, while I'm in the Dominican, or where is he going? Like
Dominica.
While I'm on a beach somewhere, I'll be a better dad to you while you take care of all of the responsibility of the family.
Now, what I didn't like from Nate was, why did he say this is for mom? Because
yeah, she's an asshole too.
Yeah.
Like, you got to take care of your mom now, and then like, well, this is for mom.
She was in on the whole thing.
I felt the same way, that like, your mom is just as much of an asshole. Yeah, do that for you.
At the reception, Vanessa and Blair do some verbal jujitsu. Blair drops a sick burn about Vanessa always falling for guys who are in love with Serena, which ends the banter by causing Vanessa to storm off.
Oops, brutal.
Yeah.
I love that Blair will take a shot knowing that she's catching herself in it. Blair will drop a point-blank fireball. Blair will blow herself up. Like, because she was into Nate 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And like, she's a little upset with Vanessa and Nate because of her feelings towards Nate.
Yeah.
But she's willing to fucking take that shot. Blair will throw a point-blank fireball.
Yep. Chuck and Nate kiss and make up. They talk about Chuck and Blair. Chuck goes back inside, and Vanessa comes out looking for Nate.
I love their makeup. It was, it was so cute.
Then we get Dan finally forces the issue with Serena. Serena still wants to stay together, but Dan wants to break up. Dan, with a straight face, says he is the most understanding man in the world.
Yep, got that written down.
Yep, it looks like these two are going to take the summer apart. And despite that line, Penn's acting was fucking on point in that scene.
Yeah, he's great. He's stupid. Dan is stupid.
Yeah.
And that line, it's, I am the most understanding person in the world, but the fact that you just went through some really horrible shit and felt like you couldn't share it was so bad that you couldn't share it with me. No, I don't understand that.
So, yeah, Chuck, mid-best man speech goes off book. He decides to use Bart and Lily as a clear analogy for Blair and him as they stare at each other.
I love the use of Death Cab. I find them to be very appropriately... I find them to be appropriately Chair. I find them to be appropriately Chuck and Blair.
Didn't Robin say something about, like, as soon as she heard that, she knew it was not going to happen? No.
That might be
it. Chuck and Blair dance. Chuck apologizes, and they begin to make out.
Yeah.
Pretty aggressively.
Yeah, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Sure it'll last.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt they're all going to just fuck each other by the end of this series.
Serena sees Chuck and Blair and is mildly disgusted as she walks by, and she bumps into the last person she wants to see right now. That's right, it's Danny Boy. They are super awkward, but it looks like they're about to escape the awkwardness when they gets bumped up to 11 when the wedding planner once again swoops in and forces them onto the dance floor together. Yay!
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny because, like, I feel like this show and shows in general will sometimes force awkwardness like that, and this one didn't feel that forced. It felt like, yeah, that's the kind of shit that would happen at a wedding. Yeah, you just broke up, but guess what? Like, we got pictures. Your mom wants pictures.
Yeah.
So you and your ex-boyfriend are going to smile for another 15 minutes on that dance floor.
So, yeah, while Dan and Serena are dancing, yeah, Blair are just trying to mac right on the dance floor, but Chuck's actually trying to slow it down. He's the romantic this time.
Yeah. Chuck is showing that he's got feelings.
Yeah. And so, yeah, Dan and Serena share a last dance that seems to last forever. This, of course, is very, very reminiscent of Ryan and Marissa. So Josh Schwartz is ripping himself off because, like, in the season 1 finale, Caleb and Julie get married. Ryan has to leave the OC because his ex-girlfriend's pregnant. He may or may not be the father, but he's going to go and raise the baby anyways. Mm-hmm. And him and Marissa share a last dance at the wedding. It's like, it's mirror image of this. Like, they're just, like, completely depressed, but they don't want to let go.
I believe I actually saw, because I'm pretty sure I saw the entire first season of the OC when it came out.
Yeah, so, yeah. Josh Schwartz is ripping himself off right there. But that is the end of Act 3. We move into the epilogue. 1 week later, Rufus, now on the tour bus, receives a call from Jenny, who got a coveted Parsons internship. However, she's working in Eleanor Waldorf Designs. Da-da-da.
Yeah. And like, what's really funny is that she's all like, oh no, about that. And she's never had beef with Eleanor. And Eleanor isn't, hasn't really been involved in Blair's life, I feel, enough to know who Jenny is. You know?
But Jenny has been specifically avoiding Blair since her little surrender there a couple episodes.
Yeah.
And now she knows she's going to have to probably be around her now, at least at some point. And then Serena's helping Blair pack for a trip with Chuck to Europe. Sounds like Serena hasn't spoken to Dan since the wedding and reaffirms that they will spend the summer apart.
Yep. Yeah. They're done and spending the summer apart. And yeah. Oh, I also love how Serena said to Blair, then why are you driving yourself? Driving yourself. She's taking her own car. Like, it's still a driver driving her. No one's driving themselves anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, why isn't he sending a limo to pick you up? Why are you taking one of your own limos?
Yeah. Well, so I think Chuck's the only one that actually has a limo. The rest of them have car services.
Yeah, but my point being, like, oh, why isn't he picking you up in his limo? Why do you have to take your car service instead?
Yeah. Well, they do love limos.
They do.
Nate and Chuck have a phone conversation about Chuck and Blair's trip. Nate reveals that he and Vanessa broke up.
Yeah.
Why?
Like, out of nowhere.
I guess it's kind of implied it's because of Dan and is now single.
Yeah, I feel like they really try throughout the rest of this epilogue to set that up, the.
But like, did Vanessa just like break up with Nate because she wanted to get with Nate or would get with Dan? Nah.
Yeah. Who knows?
We see Vanessa and Dan and another bro discussing the same breakup. Dan misuses a sports metaphor in his attempt to avoid talking about the breakup. Did you catch that?
Yeah.
He said it backwards. He said it backwards.
He said the best offense is a good defense.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Sounds like they will be spending the summer together. Yay.
Yeah. Let's hope that this clears up quick. My note is, let's hope this VD thing clears up quick.
Yeah. Hopefully there's some penicillin for that.
Vanessa and Dan.
Yeah. Serena and Nate bump into each other on the street. Apparently, summer heat turns Serena into a cat with a scratching post because she gets frisky.
Yeah.
Like, yo.
Yeah. Hey there, Nate.
Nate's gonna be a lucky guy, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that did seem to be implied. Also, a parallel back to a previous episode with the let's be alone together.
Yeah.
There is a Serena Dan moment where there was that
was like a couple episode running thing, actually.
Yeah.
Blair is waiting for Chuck at the helipad. She meets and oddly flirts with some junior marketing executive from Bass Industries.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is.
It's weird.
Chuck's daddy's issues run deep. A few sentences from Bart causes Chuck to blow off Blair in order to seduce the decorator. The decorator is played by Lydia Hurst, a real-life New York socialite.
Chuck, I love that, like, just the more Bart talked, the more you just, like...
He seemed like such a robot, like, instructing his robot son.
Yeah.
This is what you must do, son.
Yeah, this is great for you, son. Now you can have more responsibility and have less fun in your life. Hey, this is the age where you depart from joy.
But yeah, like, so the decorator was played by Lydia Hurst, who is the great-granddaughter of William Randolph Hearst and the daughter of Patty Hearst.
Oh,
so she's a nepo baby, and she's a New York socialite, and the acting was noticeably bad.
Yeah, it was showing up more than acting.
Yeah. Well, like they're reacting to Chuck's comments, like like the first scene was okay, but like when she closes up with Chuck and she reacts, like it's like this is not an actress.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Looks like Blair is flying solo, so she continues to flirt with the rando.
Yeah, and so Chuck's just still sending her to Europe.
Well, I mean, she was going to visit...
Oh, yeah, she was going to visit her dad, too,
Chuck was just giving her a ride on the Bass jet.
Right.
She was going to spend the summer with her dad.
Right, that's right. I remember now.
But they were going to take a stop over in Tuscany for, who knows how long that would last.
Yeah.
And that's what Bar was saying. Things were going to change.
Yep.
Hey, we get a series of quick shots setting up the potential storylines for next series, along with the sequence. Gossip gives her final sign off for the season. So we see Blair, the Miranda, Rufus on the tour bus, Jenny as a fashion designer doing fashion stuff. We get Nate and Serena, we get Dan and Vanessa. And then the final monologue is, they say a leopard can't change his spots, but some things do change. The path not taken can become a road trip. Being grounded can lead to something groundbreaking, and whether they're sweating it out on the sultry sidewalks or cooling their heels in the Hamptons, no one does summer like New Yorkers. Grab your shades and your sunblock. This one looks like a scorcher. And that is our season.
Season 1 over.
In the books.
Yeah, Dan and Vanessa is so dumb.
Yeah.
and actually, I want to expand on that. Like, as a concept, as setting those two up, it's a bad idea because they're already the Brooklyn people. Like, there's no...
Yeah, it's going to split the show.
Yeah, exactly. You just take all... Because then why would Dan be involved with anything anymore?
Yeah.
The Dan I've known would never go to another one of those fucking parties.
Yeah.
He hated every one of them. So, like, it would just be a spin-off of Dan and Vanessa. It's such a dumb idea.
Yeah. Not good. Not good. So let's go ahead and get into some segments. This week in fandom, we jump into the Wayback Machine and look at the Television Without Pity forums from back in 2008.
You know, I want to also point out that the last line of a cast member in this is, "I'm Chuck Bass." That is the last line spoken by a character.
Yeah.
But yeah, what the fuck, Chuck?
Yep, that was the biggest thing. And then the message words, "What the fuck, Chuck?" Fans are mad that Chuck went off with the other woman, but the fans unfortunately body shamed pretty hard. Yes, yeah. Like they're calling her like hatchet face or something like that. Like,
yeah,
yeah, that was rough. That was not a good look. But then, like, say, why redeem Chuck if you're going to unredeem him 5 minutes later?
Yeah,
it made no sense.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like this whole episode was tying things together only to untie them.
Yeah. Like, so I also like, so we'll get into this more in the fashion segment, but I feel like they must have got renewed by now, and they got like a big budget for this episode because, and like, so they knew they had a second season at this point, and they got like the outfits were great in this episode.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they got a big budget for this episode, and they had a wrap up, but then they tacked on that thing at the end because they knew they got renewed. So
yeah.
Like, oh, we got to come up with some new ideas.
Yeah, and we need to get people wanting more and show the drama for next year.
Yeah. Ending two couples that people like to make way for couples that people don't care about doesn't make much sense. Talking about Dan and Serena and Nate and Vanessa break up to partner swap, basically.
I mean, and Blair and Blair and Chuck. It's 3 couples that they did it to, essentially, you know?
Yeah, I think they kind of left things open for them more, because like with Dan, Serena, and Nate and Vanessa, like they basically swapped, because like they like clearly set up with like a serious interest.
Yeah.
Blair was just like, and Chuck were just with random people.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. And then speaking of, I don't think anyone wants to see Vanessa hook up.
No one.
Nope.
No one.
Vanessa, just go back to Vermont.
Yes.
Bye.
Yeah, we've been asking you to do that for several episodes now.
And yeah, a lot of comments about I'm the most understanding guy in the world.
I'm the most understanding guy in the world, but if you're going through shit, I'm not here for you.
Yeah. A few people did seem to like the Dan and Blair interaction, but upset that Georgina was taken down so easily. It is just one more thing taken away from the illusion that Georgina is the scary big bad.
Yeah. I mean,
she just got taken down by her parents, basically.
Yeah, and as we talked about earlier, that it really was just I felt like it was like they pulled the ripcord on her to get her gone before she could fuck up anything else.
Yeah. A lot of people felt the episode was crowded. I've talked about this before. I feel like the episode might have got cut short somehow, because they just seemed to have to fit too much into one episode.
Yeah.
Like that Nate and Chuck reconciled. People like that. And I think we like that as well.
Yeah. I love that.
They let the Dan hate commence from like Dan was already wavering in fandom, but from this point on, he's just pretty much hated.
Yeah, it was so fucking dumb. Like, he was so dumb in this. His acting was phenomenal, but his character was dumb this whole episode.
A lot of people were lamenting the writer's strike.
Yeah. I think that the writer's strike really damaged the end of this season.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and move into some episode grades. You went first last time, so I will go first this week. So, like I've been saying this whole time, the writing is what held this episode back, but the directing and the acting was like, they were both A+, but the writing is going to bring it down to a B.
I'm exactly right with you. That I thought that the acting was fantastic. I thought the directing made some really great choices, and yet the writing was just so bad, so cramped, so there. Like you said, it was overcrowded, but there were also scenes that could have been cut, like the first, or like the Rufus and Lily.
Yeah, there's like that could have been one scene instead of 3 scenes.
Yeah, there were so many places that it could have been cut to make room for,
and then they still cut things like the whole exposition of Serena explaining everything. They still just cut that whole thing out. We just get past it.
Yeah.
So.
I would assume that was on the previously on, and that's why that when they were watching it, it's like previously on. They show that whole thing, and that's why they cut that, so that they could make room for Lily and Bart to say goodbye 3 times.
Yeah. Lily and Rufus.
Oh, yeah, Lily and Rufus.
Moving on to Stockwatch. For going up, I had Bart, because he got married.
Yep, I got Bart. Yep.
And so initially, I was thinking I was not going to have a lot of ups in this, but then it turns out I actually did have quite a few.
I had a ton of ups.
Vanessa, I had going up, because she looks like she's going to get her love. So good for her, I guess.
Yeah.
Blair, I had her going up because she doesn't have to be with Chuck, and she gets to go hang out in France for the summer.
Yeah.
So good for her. Lily, she got married because that's what she wanted to do all season, apparently. Mm-hmm. So she goes up. Nate went up because he fucking punched his dad out like a champ.
Yeah.
And I had Jenny going up as well because she got that killer internship.
I believe 1, 2, 3. I think that you and I pretty much had all of them the same. I also had Chuck going up because Chuck in the end was gonna go back to being who Chuck wanted to be. Chuck got Nate back.
But I mean, did he want to go back to that? It seemed like he got manipulated into doing that
by Bart.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, I didn't really see Bart. I thought Bart was just being a proud dad. I didn't really feel like.
I mean, he was, but like that, like convinced Chuck. Like Chuck was all happy. Like they had spent like a week like being all lovey-dovey and.
Yeah.
And then
my other reason for Chuck going up though is that he made up with Chuck.
Okay.
With Nate.
Okay. So you have Chuck, Bart, Vanessa.
I have Nate, Chuck, Lily, Bart. Oh, I have Rufus going up. Because Rufus is going on tour.
Yeah, I had Rufus neutral because he's going on tour, but he did lose Lily.
Yeah, he did lose Lily.
Professionally, his life is looking good, but his personal life is kind of looking.
Yeah, but I think that this will be good for him.
It will be, yeah.
Yeah, so I had Rufus going up, and then I had Jenny, Vanessa, and Blair. For all the same reasons. You pretty much nailed it.
All right. And then down, Dan.
Yep.
Dan, yeah. Serena. Yep. Stupid. Georgina.
Yep.
And then Chuck. I am going down because he was a fucking idiot. He was just as dumb as Dan.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, yeah, I get where I
just because he did it cooler doesn't make him any smarter.
That's fair.
He made him look better, but yeah.
Yeah, and I have those three. I have Dan, Serena, and Georgina, and the captain and Anne as well, because
Yeah, I didn't even really think about that, but that does make sense.
yeah, I mean the captain got punched in the fucking face, and Anne is
I will add
once again sucks as a mom.
I will add them for me as well.
Yeah. And it's funny because, I touched on Nate being the best guy from the worst parents. And like, they really are, like, of all the shit that all the parents pull, those two are the fucking worst.
Yeah, and like Lily and Eleanor were pretty damn bad at the beginning, but they at least had some positive growth.
Yeah, and like they're parents that make mistakes, but they don't try to hurt their kids. They just hurt their kids out of their own fucking ignorance. Whereas anyway, outfits.
Yes. And there was a lot. I'm going to kind of cheat and mention several here.
That's really fair.
It probably would have been Serena's if not for the neckline. Because she always kills it in yellow, and I do love those black gloves. I know Robin said she did not. I do love the black gloves. I thought they were very sexy.
Yeah, I thought they were cool.
So that didn't win because of the neckline. Blair had 3 outfits that could have won. Her beginning outfit with the green jacket and pattern jacket with the red heart top. Then also her wedding dress, that's ultimately going to be my winner, which was the Colette Dinnigan. It's a halter bobble hem dress with the floral pattern. And then also I really liked her sailor outfit at the end too.
Oh, yeah.
And then also honorable mention to Nate for that slick pinstripe he also had the striped shirt.
Yeah. For me, and again, like this is a well-dressed episode. I also love the matching tuxes of Eric and Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't really spectacular, but those ties just really pop the way that they match. I'm actually giving this one to the bride. I really loved that wedding dress. I thought she looked spectacular in it with that bow to the side and the strapless dress. And like, I think that a strapless wedding dress is really hard to pull off. And I just think that she really crushed that dress. And so, yeah. And
I'm just not a big fan of wedding dresses.
What's that?
I'm just not a big fan of wedding dresses.
That's fair. I love a wedding. Like, I'm a wedding guy.
I like dancing it, dude. I just don't like wedding dresses.
No, that's fair.
Not a big fan of white dresses in general.
That's fair. That's fair. You're going to the wrong weddings.
All right. Anything you want to plug this week?
I think this is the first time in a while that I don't have something actually coming up. I've been watching Outer Range, and that's been pretty cool. Yeah, I don't really have much that I'm plugging for me at the moment.
All right. Well, I would like to plug a Freaks and Creeks podcast. They are a Dawson's Creek rewatch podcast. They are 4 millennials going through the show for the very first time. It's an interesting, fresh take, and they're very funny. So check them out.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because I do remember I wanted to give a shout out to the last Roundup horror show that I did a guest spot. Yeah, I did a guest spot on their show, and one of the fellas from their show is going to come on here at some point, I believe.
Do you remember what episode you're on?
I was on episode 100.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, the big 100.
Yeah.
Go check it out, guys.
Came out last week, and we reviewed Suspiria, both the 1977 movie and the remake with Dakota Johnson and, what is her name? Tilda Swinton. Tilda Swinton. And Tilda Swinton plays 3 roles in that movie.
Yeah, I'm not a big horror fan, but I know a lot of people like it.
Yeah, it was a really good movie.
So anyway, if you want to follow me on social media, you can find me on Instagram at @Capicola. You can follow the podcast on Instagram or TikTok at Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. We're on Twitter at NJBpod. And if you want to find us on Facebook, just search for the Non-Judging Breakfast Pod. We have a page and a Facebook group where you can take a seat at the Non-Judging Breakfast table.
And if you have any kind of comments or questions for us or just want to chime into the show, please send us an email at nonjudgingbreakfastpod@gmail.com and let us hear your thoughts. And please also, when you're taking a listen, give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, and, upvote. And also, please tell a friend. Let them know that you're listening to us and get them into Gossip Girl and get them into the conversation.
All right. Yeah. And next time we are going to be doing a season 1 recap. So we're going to kind of recap the entire season. We're going to go through all our stock watch and see where everyone ended up at the end of the season. Do the GPAs for all the episode grades and we'll go through we'll rank them by their GPA. And so we'll have some fun. And then after that, we will be back for season 2.
Yeah.
Summer Kind of Wonderful.
Yeah.
Episode 1.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. They start the season in the Hamptons.
Nice. I was wondering if we were going to see some of the summer before it got into it. So That's cool.
There's a couple of summer episodes.
Oh, cool.
Anyway.
They did promise it would be a scorcher.
Yes. Well, until next time, you know you love us. XOXO.
Take care.